Jesse got a lightsaber.
Yes, I did. A Saberforge lightsaber at that.
And we're doing a review and a demonstration, and I get to play with it.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? Jesse, you spent an ungodly amount of money on a Saberforge Disciple hilt, and you're in full Jedi robes for this review.
I am, definitely.
You're pretty excited about this saber?
I am. This was basically my Christmas present to me, which is something I just I know that sounds really depressing, but I think it's a fun thing to do. Treat yourself.
Some TLC, baby.
Yeah, so after much critical thinking and I bounced between obviously all the different saber makers, Ultra Saber, Saberforge being the primary ones. I decided I was I'm gonna go with Saberforge because I like their designs better. Construction seemed better. So I was fingers crossed, I hope I'm not wrong kind of thing. So I decided to go with their Disciple hilt.
Yeah, can I go ahead and I'm gonna hold that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it up in the camera. And can you describe this hilt that we're looking at? What makes it cool?
It kind of had reminiscent of your basic the Luke Skywalker lightsaber that you see in A New Hope, especially or the Anakin lightsaber, especially around the emitter point. Mm-hmm. It also it's a machine shop too, so it's an aluminum cast with a leather grip. And just the way that it's cut and everything, you get some nice accent marks in there. And it's also not you see the influences from characters, but this isn't something you actually see in any of the games or any of the movies, which is great if you like doing custom or your made up own characters when it comes to cosplay.
It weighs as much as you would expect a lightsaber hilt to feel. I really like the leather working. Was that an attribute of this hilt that really enticed you?
When you that was the one thing I was looking for. I was I want a hilt that's going to be somewhat ergonomic and also comfortable to hold. This one, in terms of, especially as a beginner hilt.
Right.
Now, they have a whole range of really expensive, different sound fonts. These can get pricey.
But you can, you could fight with this guy, right?
This is the most basic dueling saber you can get. You can hold, effectively hold it with two hands and everything.
Let me try. That feels about right.
Yeah, it feels about right.
And when you got this, it was actually a clean finish all the way through. But Jesse actually did some finishing.
I did
on the tip here, and it looks like it's scorch marks. So from the blade.
My thought process was you see Qui-Gon Jinn in Episode 1 when they're on the droid Trade Federation ship, control ship, and he's trying to basically get through a blast door, and he's got it thrust into the.
That was cool. What did I do?
You press the button. And press it again. This is why you're training.
No, this is fun.
So it's got a number of different sound functions, obviously.
That was so sweet. I didn't even mean to do that. Here, all right. I lost my privileges already.
Yeah, you naughty boy.
What that?
So my thought process on weathering the around the emitter and everything was simply just because of that one scene. He's got it thrust into the blast door. He's twisting it. The door is melting and everything.
It looks really good.
I feel like that's heat, and if you know anything, when metal heats up, it tends to char. You get kind of a bluish red.
So we talked about the saber hilt and kind of the reasons why you went and bought this specific model, and how you've kind of enhanced it to kind of fit your own styling, your own eye. Let's talk about the blade real quick, and before we have you hook this up, because what Jesse's going to do for us is he is going to kind of
go from
that
hanging on the belt to actually having it lit up.
We'll have him stand up and swing it.
One of the things you can get as an extra with these hilts is what's called a blade plug, a decorative blade plug.
A what?
A blade plug.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, looks really cool. I wonder what it looks like. I actually blinded myself by I wanted to see what it was like lit up. So when you get this, if you order one of these plugs, you get a little small Ziploc bag. It comes with a Allen wrench key. Mm-hmm. There is a Allen wrench screw towards the top of the hilt, about right there. And all you do is you loosen that up just a little bit. You don't have to do it all that much. And you just kind of shake the end.
That was a violent action you just made.
Yeah. The plug comes right out.
Wow.
I kind of lucked out. I don't know if it was a goof or intentional, but they gave me a extra blade plug with a different design. So I was like, oh, that's a happy accident or nice thing I didn't know about.
Is there anything special about this blade, or is it just the fact that it's super durable and you can fight with it as opposed to others?
I just kind of like that. Again, it was style, something that, in my head, if I were in the galaxy far, far away, what would I wield? What would my lightsaber and
I was actually just asking about the material. Like,
material-wise,
is this special?
It's a type of plastic.
Okay.
There probably is a type. I didn't really get that far
Okay.
in researching. But this is a dueling blade, so if I wanted to, I could,
Beat somebody up.
duel somebody else, with one of these.
Like, if somebody came up to you in the McDonald's parking lot, you could whip this thing out and beat some butt.
I don't really plan on dueling with it because it does, over time, that's going, bend the blade. It's going to do damage to the blade, and that's something that would be noticeable.
Can you turn it on?
Ignite it.
Can you turn it on? I think that's what we all. Oh my gosh, that crimson blue blade! How cool is that? Oh my god! And what's cool is like in person. I mean, I love like the light hue. So like down here, it's like a wider light, and then it looks like how the blade looks like in the movie. Can you switch it around a little bit and see what that action is like? Oh my god!
So it does have different sound fonts as David discovered earlier.
Sorry,
his childlike happenstance.
Oh, can we just listen to it for a second? Can we just listen to the sound?
Yeah, I don't know how.
Here, let me hold it here. I'll put it over here.
Don't swing. Yeah, so
it's great. It's great. Yeah, go ahead, take that.
So it does have some extra sound effects. A quick press of the button, you'll get a blaster shot.
Okay.
This has 3 different sound fonts, and we can kind of go through that with the basic one here. If you somewhat hold, you get the clashing noise. It does have a motion sensor in there, so if I rotate it, it's probably not going to do it because I have it kind of set on a low setting right now.
Oh my gosh, Jordan is like right there off camera, and when I'm looking at the playback monitor, it looks like you have a real lightsaber in your hand,
Right?
It looks like you're gonna slice Jordan in half.
I promise I won't slice.
Don't do it. We need him.
We need you. It does have so it's really nice. Now it's got this again. Like I said, it's got 3 different sound fonts. So to do this, I'd have to shut the blade off, and then and this sets to the third option.
It said gunmetal.
Yeah, it says gunmetal and Viridian. Crimson is, which is the one I like a lot. So we'll start with gunmetal. I gotta get it to select.
Going through the rotation.
Oh, come on.
It's kind of like when you're with your lover. You just gotta feel around a little bit.
The reason I don't like the gunmetal font on this is that it's very quiet. You'll hear the difference here.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of lackluster.
It was very gunmetal. Sounds really cool, and then you go to ignite it, and there's like hardly anything there. Very lackluster font.
Okay.
So that's probably my biggest complaint. Again, this could vary because I just got kind of the standard light and sound and everything.
Okay, let's try Viridian.
That's basically it, confirming that I selected that font.
There we go.
This is what I call the most typical lightsaber sound. This is like your standard lightsaber.
And the fun thing about this video is, oh yeah, that sounds great. You don't need to use the user manual now because we're walking you through every step of the process.
Yeah, so it's either this one or the other one. Like again, very standard lightsaber sounds.
Very prequel sounding saber sounds.
Yes. Again, the weight of this thing, even with the blade, it's manageable. It really does. It feels good in the hand and everything. And like David pointed out, we're kind of entertained right now because right now the way this is angled on screen, it really does look like I have a lightsaber that I'm swinging around, which is kind of fun.
Can you swing it around this way though? I just want to see what the blade looks. Oh my gosh, you hit the lamp. Oh no.
The, ceiling lights.
Oh my gosh, we have sparks flying. This is so cool. Can you just like dip it in front of like this is just so insane, just like the motion. And you can kind of do like a chop action. Yeah, kind of like yeah. See, I think that looks so good. It looks really good, and In person, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, this is probably how I would.
The blade length is about right too. Like you would think it'd be about what 3.5, 4 feet long.
I think if I remember this is the 36-inch blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in general, I mean, this is kind of what they call it. Like it's like they have tiers of hilts.
Yeah.
The hilt itself was $75. The sound, like getting it with light and sound, that's where you're paying somebody really the top dollar.
So how much was this whole thing again?
Total, including shipping, it was about $250.
Okay, so which isn't bad because you mentioned it's a kind of beginner blade. It's a great way to get yourself introduced.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is something where like this hilt appealed to me.
Yeah,
this was something that's like, yeah, like if that's what I would want.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've done 2 of the sounds. We have a third one we gotta try out, right?
Yes. Oop. Again, that's basically your standard one.
Yep. Crimson.
I guess you could say this is the Sith setting.
Yeah.
It has a very deep ignition.
Oh, that's like a Vader hilt. That sounds really good.
Yeah, so
I like it a lot.
Obviously, since I cosplay and I've been working on getting, I like the idea of a gray Jedi. David does not. But at the same time, even if I was just a Jedi, it's not common to see a Jedi in black robes or darker colors. Anakin's really the only one to have done that. And I just kind of enjoyed that.
No, it really does. It complements your cosplay really well. And, you have the blade ignited, and even when it retreats, the scorch markings that you've done here on the edge look really good. Like it's a really nice, subtle detail that you might not recognize unless you're like up close on the hilt, but it just looks fresh. Like it looks like it's freshly scorched. Yeah, and I dig that.
Some other things to keep in mind if you do consider getting this one.
Wait, can I hold it one time?
Yeah.
Are you really taking it apart?
I'm taking the blade up apart to talk about. I've actually.
I got you.
Another thing here.
I'll hold the blade.
So, one of the things that drew my attention to the design was just the emitter area. The kind of the curve and everything. And it has this nice little dip down in there, which is great. Mm-hmm. The only downside is I did actually stab myself with this lightsaber.
Wow.
Being a nerd and playing and swinging it around.
You're not supposed to put it in your eye, Jesse.
Well, the thing is because this is machine shop.
Oh, it's sharp.
The 2 points here were actually fairly sharp.
Really?
So I was like, well, I wonder if that was just like an accident. Upon research, it's kind of common. I was like, oh, I kind of missed that in the fine print. So I did file, and it didn't really take that much. I just took a little bit of sandpaper and just kind of very carefully got those points down to where I wasn't going to hurt myself, putting it back on my belt or handling it. I know some people would probably cringe at the idea of it, but since this was metal, I removed the blade plug that I ordered, and I actually took just basic lighter, and I sat there and I blackened the end. We're talking like to where it was like, oh gosh, it's really black, and it wipes off and everything. I just kind of kept doing it until I was content with it. And the end result is that you have a really nice weathered effect, like I said, where you get that heat distressing. Maybe this is heavy use. Maybe I'm a Jedi out in the far reaches, and I don't really have access to maybe always keep this thing properly clean, kind of thing.
You can keep us updated on your cosplay storyline, but as far as this is concerned, we have the hilt, we have the blade, about $250 you said, and this is a starter or an entry level hilt from Saberforge. It's the Disciple hilt, and Jesse, it's a stash for you. You're in love with this.
I am.
This is going to be on your belt. You're going to be having this as an activated saber for cosplay poses, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. So it's going to get a lot of use when it's not being used. It's going to be a really sweet shelf piece for you, I'm sure. Now, how are you going to be displaying? Are you going to be displaying it like laying down, or are you going to have it hanging on a table or hanging on the wall?
I plan on actually getting a display for it at some point.
Cool. Like a glass case for the hilt?
Potentially, yeah. Okay. I actually kind of have a weapons rack idea because I do Mandalorian cosplay as well. Mm-hmm. And I have a E11 which I've shown before.
Right.
I actually have 2 blaster pistols now. So it's one of those things where I kind of want to display it.
You're kind of stockpiling. Should I be worried?
Well, you never know.
That's not what you're supposed to say in response.
Thermal detonators, maybe.
Oh my
or
gosh.
thermal. I like the sound of thermal imploders better. But
What's the motivation for you now as a cosplayer to get another saber down the road? So you mentioned this is an entry, but what's the benefit of you getting a medium or a large? Because these sabers I've seen, they go for $600, $800
well,
more
if I got
dollars.
another one, I'd actually consider something they call a shoto, which is a Japanese term. It's basically a shorter sword. I like the idea of dual wielding lightsabers. So if I did get another one, I'd probably go with a shorter blade length.
Kind of like a Yoda. Or am I misunderstanding when you say shorter? Like, what do you mean?
So this is like a 36-inch blade.
Okay.
So maybe the next blade is only like 30 inches. And again, I'm just kind of ballparking the sizes here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to relate it to characters we've seen. So maybe like Ahsoka.
Yeah, like
sabers.
the idea with the difference is you have your primary striking weapon, which has a longer blade, a longer reach, where the Shoto is more designed for blocking.
Okay.
You can still strike with it, but the idea is more of a defensive.
I got you.
Kind of saber. So it's just kind of a nice concept, and it gives you a little versatility. In terms of being a cosplayer, different poses you could strike for people, and being a formal martial artist, you can kind of I got an idea of what.
Yeah, your Jedi robes. Your Jedi robes are actually recycled karate uniforms, right?
Yeah, I was actually reading through a lot of the different forums, and they're like, you can't use karate gis, and I'm like, if you modify them, you probably could. I really kind of stopped growing years ago, so I kind of lucked out and was able to do all this on very much of a budget.
See, just as someone who doesn't do cosplay but respects that art form, just like you, like this weighs like how much I would expect it to weigh.
What do you think? Yeah,
it's light. I love the comfortable leather grip here for the hand. It's really nice, and I'm really impressed by the kind of plastic this is, because I know we've talked about how this is for dueling, but it's it's heavy. Like, this is at least twice as heavy as the hilt itself. It's durable. I'm looking in. It's probably a quarter of an inch thick all the way around. And I don't know, like this seems like if I were to invest in cosplay, I think the Saberforge definitely seems like a really great way to go. I don't have anything to compare it with, but it seems like a 10 out of 10 to me.
Again, this worked out for me. I was very happy. Like they said, the lead time on these was about 6 to 8 weeks. Then I got a notification that I had ordered it, and it was like 2.5 weeks later that it was shipping. So, at the same time, I was like, that's fine. Some people were like, I have to have it now. I enjoyed the idea of a machine shopped hilt, where some people will knock on it. I wasn't all that impressed with what Ultra Saber had available as far as hilt designs. I saw this, and it just clicks. And I'm sure that's like that with other people with other brands. But overall, very happy with how this was packed. This came completely encased in bubble wrap, and the way they did this was it was bubble wrapped
together
separately, and then
okay.
Basically they had some bubble wrap in between, and then they had the tape on the bubble wrap, so it was packaged.
So if you were to give this
stacked together,
if you were supposed to give this a rating out of 10, I'm saying 10 out of 10, but I'm a novice, not that familiar with it. How would you rate it?
I would give it 10 out of 10 for something like this. I thought cost efficient and everything. Yes, $250 sounds a lot, but if you don't have any knowledge about electronics, you can buy the parts to do this on your own, which would be great to learn. But
right.
This is nice. It's just machine shopped items always look great.
I was really worried that you weren't going to let me touch it.
I was worried you were going to slice like somebody in half or something. Like one of the cats or. It happens. I've seen him use other lightsabers, and he almost caused a parking garage to collapse at Wizard World.
All I want to say is this was a lot of fun, and you got our take. Someone who's not really a cosplayer, a very dedicated cosplayer. You got our take. Comment down below. What do you think about the Saberforge Disciple hilt? Did you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think about all the variances in the sound effects that hilt has? 3 different tracks, for lack of a better phrase, of sound that you can have with that blade.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.